You've got Beau and Droo here, and today we are going to talk about, is Wizards of the Coast about to wreck Commander with hybrid mana? So, jumping right off the bat, Droo, how are you doing today?
I'm doing just dandy.
Yes.
How are you doing, Beau?
I'm doing good. I'm getting over being a little sick. You can hear it in my voice, but that's all right. So, Droo, do you think Wizards of the Coast is going to ruin Commander and by extension Duel Commander with this hybrid mana rules change?
I think this is an interesting change. This has always been something that's just been discussed in the Commander community for many years now. I personally don't like the feel of hybrid mana being able to be played in a monocolored deck, but I also understand that the way that they ended up designing these cards is it can be played as, for example, Kitchen Finks. It can be a green card, a mono green card, it can be a mono white card.
Right.
And so I get where they're coming from in that sort of regard. In the end, I think the change will be fine if they end up going with it. I think it'll add a lot of deck diversity. You'll see some weird things like with a Beseech the Queen where it's colorless or black hybrid. That one feels really weird to me. I don't agree with that one.
Okay.
But the other ones, I think in the end will be fine. I'm just being a grumpy old boomer.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I've done some research, and I've come to the table with said research, so me and you can just go back and forth about it. So currently, not including cards that have been previewed but aren't out yet, there's 477 hybrid cards in Magic the Gathering.
That feels low, but
yeah, that's what it is. Not including Phyrexian, because that's a whole different thing. So you've got 477 of those. I went through with a fine-tooth comb, and I personally see 21 of those cards being playable.
And that's also including some new ones or no?
No, not including new
ones.
When you factor in the new ones like the new Figure of Destiny and the new Evoke Elementals, yeah, sure, it's going to go up a little bit. So that's where we're at right there. And I think looking at the pros of it, it expands deck building options and creative flexibility. It gives monocolored decks minor boosts, but it also gives multicolored decks those same boosts. I feel like that's a little bit of a cop-out when I'm like hearing other creators be like, well, it's like, yeah, but everybody gets that then. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like, does it really? Furthermore, it honors the hybrid design intent, and it creates fun new combos and interactions within the context of that design intent. Would you agree with all of those?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool. And then let's talk about some of the, negatives that I've seen spouted across, whether it's Goldfish, Trinket Mage, Blood Artist. I've watched a lot of different creators' takes on this, and it comes to like risks of homogenization and loss of identity in Commander. It weakens color boundaries, and it's an education clarity issue, right? Because actually, this card on the battlefield is both blue and green, but it makes it just blue because we're only paying blue. I mean, to me, it's like, yeah, I get that little bit, but it's like, God forbid you have to learn a little bit more or educate yourself about the change of direction in the format. Some are upset that it'll add unnecessary complexity for new players, as Commander is now the gateway to enter the kingdom of Magic the Gathering. It opens a precedent for further rules manipulation. And when I was hearing the word manipulation from other creators, I was like, that's a very pointed word. It's got a lot of undertones underneath it. It diminishes the role of creative restriction, which defines the format as well. So those were the big cons about it. What do you think about that?
I'm trying to think about the homogenization part. Like, I'm thinking about, potential Kitchen Finks combos or Murderous Redcaps for, some of us old modern players type of things. Those are kind of the things that jump to mind. And, while you're restricted in the past by having those multicolors, are people actually going to be using those types of combos in every single, mono black deck, mono white deck? You can finally play it in Heliod, but you don't get Malira, so that doesn't necessarily work. And then I guess Red Cap would be kind of in the same-ish boat, but I don't know. That the homogenization part is the one that gets me. I don't know if I agree with that one.
Okay.
Some of the other points, I can kind of see where they're coming from. I don't think that new players tend to get too confused with that sort of stuff. I feel that
I feel like
a lot
that's
of people. Yeah, I was just about to say, like, a lot of people that end up asking me about that stuff when it comes to like new players and whatnot, they kind of see it as monocolor or the other monocolor once they figure out like what hybrid is.
Right.
So I don't think that's going to be an issue at all.
Yeah, I'll put a pin in this for now, and I'm just going to go briefly over the 21 cards that I see potentially impacting specifically Duel Commander.
Sure.
Number 1, Figure of Destiny. And these aren't in like a sequential order. These are just 1 through 21.
So what, like Kellen?
Yeah, I could see it in Kellen. You know what I mean? Mono red decks. Yeah, exactly. Manamorphose, I think that would obviously go in Storm, and it would go in Rogtav.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Right.
Give the red Storm deck a little bit of a bump.
Yeah, exactly.
Something that's not blue.
Exactly. Rise the Redeemed, I think we'll see play. Thopter Foundry, this one's exciting because this could go in a Golbez shell with another card that I'll be bringing up momentarily. But I think that this would be sweet. I would love to play Thopter Foundry in just a Dimir deck as opposed to having to be Esper based off of its color things.
What, you don't want to do it in an Orzhov deck?
No. You can't do it in an Orzhov deck because you have
Orzhov. Yeah,
you have to pay the blue.
Azorius.
Azorius, there you go. Next up, Vexing Shusher. I think this will see play as well.
I think this one is much better than the types of cards that are like spells you
Spider-Punk.
control can't be countered, like Spider-Punk type of nonsense. Yeah. You know, being able to make something, activate the ability to make something uncounterable after they try to counter it is going to be the most relevant part.
For sure.
Most of the time, I still feel like these cards are traps, but this one has the highest potential.
This one, to you, has the highest potential. Okay.
Yeah, of those, like,
gotcha. Under that umbrella.
Countered,
gotcha. Okay.
Outside of Allosaur.
Makes sense. Carnage Interpreter.
I love this card so
also
much.
A big fan of this card. I try and fit it in my 99 so often. It's like usually one of the last cuts. I'm just like, I don't have room for you, little buddy.
I would love this. I would love the change just so I could play this in more decks.
Yes. Saheeli Sublime Artificer.
Ugh. I don't miss this card.
I think it'd be, again, I could see this in like Lady Octopus. Like there's some space for this card to exist in there. Beseech the Queen, we briefly touched on. Cunning Nightbounder. This card to me seems like it would see a lot of play in Malcolm because it's Flash, and Flash reduces it by 1 and it can't be countered. So like I could see this card being in there.
This card's sweet.
Yeah. Fiend Artisan, I could totally see being in both green and black decks. Like there's some room for this.
The like black pod aspect seems like feels a little weird. I don't know where they were going. Like you get +1/+1 for each card in your graveyard. That feels very black to me, but I don't know about the pod aspect. And so I'm trying to think in that lens where they were describing, you know, this can function as a mono black card or a mono green card, and this feels more like tertiary. A black and green card.
That's fair. That's fair. Thing. I'll grant that one. Kahira, Luris. Luris to me is the one that I think will see the most amount of play when this. And to me, it's not an if, it's a when. Because, and we'll touch on this at the very end, but once the RC was dissolved for Commander, Ripperoni. Like, WotC owns your soul now, and they're going to give Mark Rose as much runway as he needs to design cards to sell to Commander players. And if by doing that with hybrid mana, as we know, we've seen some already featured in the upcoming set that comes out in November in The Last Airbender, and then we also see it in the first release going into the new year with Lorwyn. And so there's no doubt in my mind that these changes are coming, and they're coming fast. And if you don't like it, well, unfortunately,
it's going to be part of the new.
It's part of the
future.
Yeah, exactly.
Luris, I think, is already an underplayed and underexplored card.
Yes,
but with this change, I think it definitely gets to be much more prevalent.
This, along with Thopter Foundry in blue-black Golbez with Painter combo, with Dark Depths combo, like this just seems like so much fun to me.
Or just playing it in Yoshi, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could play it in Yoshi too.
As a mono white, as quote unquote.
As the white, yeah, exactly. So I think Luris will see a lot more play when this change happens. Hogak, I think we'll see some play specifically in like the Black Aristocrats decks. I could see that being there.
Oh, that would
as
make
like
sense.
A finisher.
Yeah.
Gifts of Orzhov. I could see this being played in Light Paws, but Light Paws already has so many good things. But like, you know,
3 mana is a lot.
I know. I'm scraping here. Like I said, I went through all 480.
I love the artwork. This is one of my favorite artworks on a card.
Oh, but beautiful.
And this card was really good in
limited,
and
yeah.
whatnot. But
Next up, Cold-Eyed Selkie. I think this would see play as well. Shadow of a Doubt. This will definitely see play. People like the gacha aspect of it, myself included, so I will happily play Shadow of Doubt.
I've got one in my deck this week.
Yeah, sick. Symbiote Spider-Man, Ultimate Green Goblin, and then we have the aforementioned Kitchen Finks and Murderous Redcap. And then I think Ashiok Dream Render could see some play as well, because there's so much fetching and tutoring and searching in this format. Seeing it in mono black, seeing it in mono blue. I could totally see that. And that really is the list to me.
Yeah, I didn't get to look through all of the cards, but, I'm taking your word for it that these are going to be the 20-ish cards that have higher impact out of the 477, you said?
Yeah.
There's got to be more, but...
It's all came up on Scryfall. So yeah, I guess where I'm going with this is with the rules committee being dissolved and brought into the shell of Wizards of the Coast, Commander being the most popular format and their cash cow right now that's holding up the company that is Hasbro, they are going to make this change. You cannot convince me that they won't make this change. And the RC has already released a comment in the Discords talking about how when they say if, but I'm gonna preface it and say when Wizards makes this change, they will follow suit, as they want Duel Commander to be an off-bridge, an off-ramp for players that play Commander that are looking for a 1v1 experience. So that's my take on it. When listening to Trinket Mage, Blood Artist, and the gentleman from MTG Goldfish, I believe his name is Tomer, one of them came up with like the whole death of an author. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Okay, so like death of an author is like when you write a book and you release it to the public, you're no longer in control of the meanings of things behind it, right? Like the public has the ability to interpret these things. And I just really wanted to put a quick rebuttal onto that. So like the whole death of an author thing is something you talk about in like English 201 or higher. It's not real life game design. The idea works for novels or poetry where the author's intent is up for interpretation, but Commander isn't a piece of literature and it's no longer a community-driven format, right? So it's a living format that Wizards of the Coast now fully owns and manages. And once they took control, they became the author. Their intent matters because they literally write the rules, design the cards, and decide what is legal. And ignoring that isn't deep or rebellious, as some of these other content creators have gone on to say. It's just pedantic, and it misses how the format actually works as of today. So that's my closing thoughts on this. Do you got anything else to say, Drew?
I'm just... now you got me really thinking about, convincing me that this change is going to happen, more or less. And I could definitely see it. I just kind of think that it might be a little funny that they're kind of teasing people, asking, like, what are your thoughts on making this change, when in reality they were just going to do it.
It was already going to happen.
Like a bait, or make it seem like the public actually had some form of impact.
Right, yeah.
Be just like, we care about what you say, but we were going to do this regardless.
No, they're just informing your consent anyways.
Yeah,
they're just
exactly.
like, no, see... And, they can always point to like some random thing that they may or may not have distributed. Like, well, our market research says, as we often like to say here at Manafest Dread. And I don't think it's bad or worse. The other thing too is like when you listen to the people that are part of the coalition that Wizards just recently had out to Seattle a month ago, and they had Mark Rowe front and center and like really hammering home, like, listen, this is what we intended. This is not, the end result of Commander was different because it was under community control at that point, right? But like hybrid cards have always been under the guise of or, and gold cards are and, right? So it's if Kitchen Finks is green or white, a green-white legendary like, trying to think from Lorwyn.
Gaddock Teague?
Thank you. Gaddock Teague is green and white, right? So that's separation right there. And having listened to a number of people that were at that panel come back and say, well, I originally thought this way, but now I feel this way. To me, it's all but sealed up. Like, wrap it up, send it to Cooperstown. It's done.
Yeah, and that's why I said earlier on, like, it feels a little bit on point for flavor, but also feels that based on aesthetics that it doesn't feel as flavorful, since it's like hybrid mana, it shows both colors and what have you. But I think in the end, this will open up a lot for like deck building, and it'll cause a bunch more innovation and a lot cooler decks and all of this sort of stuff. So for gameplay wise, like, sure. But again, me being an old boomer, I don't want to see it, but I also welcome it as, you know, a good change for the game. I'm just going to be cursing at the sky the whole time.
Fair enough.
But I'll have my fun.
Well, while you're cursing, I'll be playing Thopter Sword Foundry combo with Luris in my Golbez deck and loving every second of it. So I'm Beau.
I'm Drew.
And we're Manafest Dread MTG. Thanks for listening to us rant about if Wizards of the Coast is going to ruin Commander, and by extension, Duel Commander with hybrid mana.
Be sure to give us a subscribe, check out this video, and stay beautiful.